Welcome back to the channel. My name is Abel and welcome back to Football Manager 2020, and it's time for another look into the future on FM, and this time we have simulated 50 years into the future to the year 2070. Now, a little while ago I did a similar video to this one where we went forward 20 years into the future. You'll find that in the description below, and there's an I button in the corner. If you click that, that will also take you to the video. In that same save, we have now gone further. We've gone 50 years into the future to 2070. So we're going to pick things up where we left off, and we're going to see what's happened since then in the next 30 years onwards from them. So much like we did last time, we're going to have a look at the winners of the top 5 leagues. We're going to have a look at England and international stuff, so World Cups and Euros. We might look at Ballon d'Or stuff, but every player's a regen now, so unless there's a player that's been ridiculous, then we probably won't pay too much attention to that. But last time we did this in 2040, there was a player that I think won 8 out of 9 Ballon d'Ors or something, and he was just absolutely incredible. So we'll look out for stuff like that, and we'll see what else we can find as well. So top of the news is England winning the World Cup. So that's the first thing to notice. I have simulated to sort of the middle of July, so the World Cup has just finished and England won it. So that's good. And it looks like the manager's just quit as well. So he's won the World Cup and now he's left. So that's it. England win the World Cup. We'll get onto that stuff in a minute, but that's top of the news. Okay, so looking at the Premier League, we can see that Man City have won the last 3 seasons, but there's been an emergence of Burnley in the past few years as a league champion. 3 times in a row, Burnley winning the league. We'll go through the whole list of winners from when we last left off. We didn't see Liverpool win the league. We also simulated the 2019-2020 season, which of course in real life Liverpool won. But they didn't win it in that season. In fact, I think Chelsea won it. And Liverpool never won the league since. So it went to 2040 and they still haven't won it. So but it's a 50-year wait now for Liverpool for a league title when this save. 2070, hopefully they've won it. Unfortunately, they haven't. Liverpool still haven't won the league. They've been second place a few times, third place a few times, but they have still not won the Premier League, not since 1990. So at this point, it's an 80-year wait. That's not good. That's not good at all. But we can see Burnley there, the newest winner since Leicester, of course, in 2016. So we left off at 2040, which Man United won. We then had 3 different winners with City, Arsenal and United. Chelsea have won a few more since then. Again, a few Arsenals in that. Arsenal have won a lot more. Arsenal have actually quite a few, actually. Then Man City got a few back, and then Chelsea won 4 out of 5. Then we come to Burnley in 2064, so they won 3 in a row. Not sure what happened there. Maybe a big takeover, or maybe just their players just improved and improved. Not really sure what happened there, so we can maybe try and work it out. We'll see. Then Chelsea won it in 2067, and then the last 3 seasons have been won by Manchester City. The second place teams have been pretty much the same. Spurs came second, so Spurs still waiting for their first league title since they last won it, which was all the way back in 1961, so that's a long wait for them as well. Looking at third, Crystal Palace have just finished third place, so that's a good one for them. There you see Burnley just before winning the league did get a third place finish themselves. Everton have also started to break into the top 4 recently with a couple of bronzes. So this is what the most recent table looks like. Man City, Chelsea, Crystal Palace and Burnley are the top 4. Liverpool, Bristol City and Tottenham, I suppose, would be in the Europa League places, but it looks like Arsenal may have won the FA Cup. So it looks like they have just cost Spurs a place in Europe. Spurs fans would not be happy about that. Nottingham Forest just outside the top 10. Millwall in the Premier League. Burnley have returned. Hull, Middlesbrough and Ipswich, who got relegated bottom, and a very close scrap at the bottom for the fight for survival, actually. Just 2 points separating the bottom 4, so very close there. I wonder if there's anyone that's fallen really far. If we go down to the Championship from last season, Watford have just won it. Wolves are down here along with Villa. Leicester are in the Championship. Bournemouth are still here. West Brom, Fulham. So not too many people that have fallen. Leicester are down here, which might be a bit of a surprise. Wrexham are in the Championship and Hartlepool as well. So they've climbed a few leagues in the past number of years, it seems. Okay, going into League One, I'm on the lookout for Premier League sides. I don't see any, so I don't think anyone's really fallen far, unless they're in League Two, which I highly doubt. But Queen's Park Rangers have just been promoted from League One along with Cardiff and Crewe. York are in League One, Chester. So let's take a look at Burnley then, because you can see that they've slowly risen through the ranks. If we look at their competitions and look at their past positions in the Premier League, we can see that they start off in 2020. They finished 13th in that season. They had a couple of good finishes of 7th, but they've always been sort of very much in the middle of the table. And then you get to about 2052. And they have never finished outside the top 10. So from 2052, they've been an established top half side, and they've just slowly climbed up, managed to get a top 4 finish, and then they stayed in the European places, and eventually they get 3 titles in a row. So it's just been a very slow build for Burnley. Not sure if it's a takeover or what it was, but Burnley managed to get 3 straight league titles. Okay, so looking at the season that they won the title, they spent £82 million in the transfer window. I'm just seeing, how much they spent. The season before that, they spent £209 million, including £61 million for Dale Butt, who was the centre-back. So it looks like they came into some money, and, they spent big to try and get to the top, it seems, which, they're entitled to do. 100 million in that season, and yeah, they just became very big spenders. So I'm assuming it was a takeover, but Burnley managed to get a few titles under the belt. Over in Spain, it looks like very much more of the same, with Barcelona and Real Madrid dominating the titles, and it has very much stayed the same. Not since 2014 has there been a different winner. Barcelona and Real Madrid have completely swept La Liga. There's nobody else has got anywhere near him, it seems. Real Betis have had a couple of runners-up, as of Valencia and Atletico, but it's been all Barca and Real Madrid. And then in third, Real Betis have been, the go-to third-place side. Valencia, Atletico there as well. And I think that's it. Over in Serie A, Juventus have won the past couple of titles. I don't remember who won previously. Let's go back. So it's very much a hodgepodge of a few teams, with Juve, Inter Milan, AC Milan, and Napoli. And Lazio were the most recent winners last time we met, and they won a few more after that. Napoli also went back up there. Inter, Juventus started to have a brief spell of dominance as well. There's a couple of other different teams in there, but Juventus winning 11 out of 14. So that's good for them. And then they've won the past couple as well. So a few different winners. AC Milan seems to have dropped off a little bit. In fact, they're not even in the top 3. They haven't been for about 20 years. So AC Milan have dropped off seemingly. And it looks like Juve, Inter, Napoli, and not so recently Lazio. It's been a while since we've seen Lazio in that top. Well, they've been third place, but Lazio have been close, but haven't won a title for about 20 years either. The Bundesliga looks pretty interesting. Bayern have won the past couple, Schalke have won a couple, Wolfsburg have won, and Hertha Berlin have won in recent years. So, wow, okay. Things have changed a little bit. Wolfsburg had a great spell where they won, is that 10 in a row? 10 in a row for Wolfsburg. Schalke broke that. Then Hertha won. Wolfsburg won a couple more. Schalke won again, and then Bayern have won the past couple. But where we last left off, it was very much all Bayern for a while. We had this long spell here. And then Schalke upset that and had a good spell themselves. Bayern with a few more wins in there. And since then, there have been quite a few different winners. Borussia Dortmund have shown up after years of being second place. They finally won their first title since 2012. That was in 2041. So 1 year after we restarted the simulation. Bayern had quite a long spell. Look at this drought. That's not like Bayern at all. But Wolfsburg with a long run there of 10 in a row. That's impressive. Anyone else to look out for here? Werder Bremen third place, but I think that's pretty much it. No Leverkusen. Yeah, that's it. Augsburg with a third place there. And lastly, Ligue 1, PSG have won a couple, but Stade Rennais have been recent winners, as of Dijon. That's an interesting one. Dijon have come out of nowhere. Angers as well. This is very interesting. When we last saw France, Lyon were cleaning up. Lyon and PSG were dominating. Of course, Paris Saint-Germain had this spell of 9 in a row, and before that they had 4 in a row. And then Lyon kind of took control of that. They got 5 in a row, and then 5 in a row again, and then 6 in a row, and Monaco split that up. So they won 11 out of 12. And then we had Angers winning 2 in a row, which was very interesting. They seem to have come out of nowhere. They had a 3rd place in 2050, won a couple, and then looks like they've been around the top 3 since then. And then Dijon won 7 in a row. So these two sides have obviously come into some money. And then Stade Rennais started to pick things up. I don't think they've ever won it, have they? Have Rennes ever won the French league? I don't think they have. No. So that is very interesting. For the French league looks very different. You know, I'm used to it being dominated because we had Lyon dominating. Currently PSG are dominating. And it's good to see some different names in there, definitely. Now, I don't remember if I had the Portuguese league loaded. I don't remember if it was in this database or not, but we'll have a look. And let's see what's been happening here then. So we had Benfica and Porto winning them for a long time. And then we saw an emergence of Famalicão as a 2nd place side. Sporting very much the 3rd place, Guimarães in there as well. Famalicão did eventually start winning some titles, and it looks like they've won quite a few. Porto have not won nearly as many, and Benfica have been the team to beat. Sporting won in 2069. Sporting Braga as well, with the first win in probably ever for them. I'm not really sure. And then Porto finally broke a 20-year drought, winning it most recently. And then in the Ladbrokes Premiership, Celtic have won the past 6, but St Mirren with a couple of wins. Rangers getting some titles as well. Celtic had this huge spell of dominance, which was just ended by Rangers and St Mirren at the end of the last video. Aberdeen won one for the first time since like the 1980s. Rangers got some. Celtic again. Celtic and Rangers dominated for a number of years, much like they did years and years ago. And then St Mirren with a couple of wins in there as well. Ross County most recently 2nd place, or very recently 2nd place. Aberdeen, Hearts. So good to see some different names in there as well. As we saw, England are current world champions, winning the 2070 World Cup. The manager has just left. They are the world #1 team, #1 ranking. So let's see how they've done in the tournaments, the World Cup and the Euros. Now, when we left off in 2040, I don't think we'd done the Euros. So here it is, 2040, and they got to a quarterfinal before losing in extra time to Belgium. 2046, they won. So they have won a World Cup since 2070. They won in 2046. So what's that, 80 years of hurt? Is it 80 years? They also reached the final of the Euros in 2048, but they lost on penalties to France. And then 2050 World Cup, not a great showing. They lost on penalties to Jamaica in round 2. The World Cup, the form of the World Cup really dropped off after winning it. That's really not good. They lost in round 2 again. They won another World Cup in 2062, beating the USA in the final on extra time. So after a few years of really poor performances and losing in like round 2, they did win another one. And then in the Euros, another final defeat, this time to Germany. It just seems they can't win the Euros, England. I don't think they ever will or ever have. And then another final, this time lost to Mexico in the World Cup final in 2066. And then the Euros in 2068, they finally win a European Championship with a win over Portugal. And then, as we saw in 2070, they won the World Cup again, beating Argentina 4-2 in the final. So does that means England have won 4 World Cups, if I've got that correct? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, they've now won 4 World Cups. So one more and they will have a trophy to keep, much like Brazil did. But we can see Mexico have started to come through as a really powerful team with 2 World Cup wins. And Mexico and England have won the last 4 World Cups between themselves. Belgium also finally won their first major tournament. We know they've been dark horses for what seems like 10 years at this point, Belgium, but they just can't seem to get it done. Where we left off, we had Turkey and Slovakia in that really bizarre final. Brazil faced Holland. England faced France. Italy beat France. Belgium beat Brazil. Mexico beat Brazil. England beat the United States. Mexico beat England. And then England beat Argentina. But we can see that the host nations seem to rotate between a few sides. So South Africa have had 2 World Cups since the one in 2010. We see Germany and Australia, USA, Russia and Brazil get it back again. Japan for the first time since 2002. And then, as we saw, England won their very first European Championship in 2068 in the host nation. They did host it as well. Germany beat England in Spain. France beat Germany in Italy. The Netherlands beat Italy in Scotland and Wales. The Netherlands beat France in France. France beat England in the Netherlands and Belgium. Portugal beat England in a Ukraine-Poland Euros, much like 2012. And 2040, it was Italy winning it against Spain, and that was hosted by Austria and Switzerland, like 2008. So it seems like some previous hosts get it back, which kind of makes sense. Okay, last time we did have a look at leading transfers, so we are going to do that once again. Okay, so it seems like the transfer fee has really jumped up. The most expensive player last time was João Felix, who moved from Atletico Madrid to Chelsea. And that was very early on in our simulation. That was in just 2022. Since then, the world record has jumped up almost 70 million. Carlos Cesar moved from Dijon to Manchester City for £211 million. He became the very first £200 million player. And it's a guy from Dijon who we saw win the French league. We've also had Mohamed Sanogo move from Liverpool to Real Madrid for £173 million. That was in 2052. And in the same year, Jonathan Pagano went from Everton to Man City for £156 million. Thiago, not the one that's just signed for Liverpool, because this is 2057. A player that's moved from Dijon to Liverpool for £154 million. And Samuel Afriyie moved from Crystal Palace to Man City for £149 million. So since João Felix, we have seen 5 players exceed that previous transfer record. So the record was broken by Pagano, and then it was broken in the same year by Sanogo, and then that lasted 9 years before Carlos Cesar moved for over £200 million, the very first £200 million player. But I'm just wondering if there's going to be any real players that have moved on to become coaches and are maybe still coaching. It might be quite difficult to find them, but we can definitely have a look. Well, Martin Demichelis is manager of the Lyon second team, aged 89. So that's the first player I've seen that I think I've recognised. There's Sergio Ramos. So it seems like these guys just never retire. Sergio Ramos is assistant manager at Valencia at 84 years old. I think the game might be broken at this point, because I can't imagine anyone 84 years old still in management. Like Roy Hodgson's 73 and he manages Palace, and he's the oldest manager ever in the Premier League. But the fact that there's people here that are 100 years old that are still managing sides, that's just really, really strange. And I think the game at this point probably does break, and that's not going to happen in real life, is it? All right, so we're going to leave it there for today, but that is not the end of these simulations, because down the line we are going to be simulating 100 years into the future. I don't know how long it's going to take, but we are going to be bringing you that. But the next time we see this save, we are going to be 100 years into the future, in the year 2120. Which that's probably not how you'd say it. How would you say it? Is it 2120? Because we say 2020, we don't say 2020, do we? So it's probably 2120, which is really weird. But we will be doing that at some point. I don't know when, but I will try and get it out before FM20 ends. So we're going to see that at some point. We're going to go 100 years into the future, and maybe further. We'll have to wait and see how long it takes and how far we can get. But that's going to do it for this video, guys. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed it, drop a like down below, leave comments. If you haven't done so already, or if you're new, then do subscribe and turn on notifications. As I said in my update video, we're not going to be doing any more saves for FM20. It's just going to be sort of standalone videos like this. But because I probably haven't got enough ideas to do 3 videos a week, it's not just going to be FM, there's going to be other stuff as well. But I don't think I'm going to be going to that 3 video a week schedule, because I think it's going to be hard to come up with ideas to put out that much content. Because you think it's going to be, 2 months before FM21 comes out? And 3 videos a week, you're looking at another 30, maybe 40 videos. And I don't know if I've got enough ideas to keep that going. So I think the schedule might take a bit of a backseat until FM21 comes out. But I will try and get as many videos as I can out. But it might not be 3 a week. It might be 2. But I will always tweet if I'm going to upload. So follow me on Twitter to find out when I'm going to be posting. But I hope you've enjoyed this look at football 50 years in the future. And as I said, we are going to go further. We're going to go even further beyond, as the Goku would say. We're going to go 100 years into the future. So stay tuned for that somewhere down the line. But for now, thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Goodbye.